guys, welcome to another video with A to Z Yoga and me, Amy. Today's video is about the ribs and about getting a little bit of movement around the ribs so that we can breathe more easily, alleviate some back pain, get rid of headaches, get rid of frozen shoulders. They have a whole host of things to do with those issues. So today what you're going to need, ideally, is either a Pilates ball, a little one, or a cushion or a blanket. Just something that you can turn into a fairly big squishy lump that you can move around. And of course your mat and a bit of wall space. We're not going to stay at the wall, but we are going to use it for a while. So go and get those things and then I will see you back here. So I have got my Pilates ball and I'm going to start with that. If you've got a cushion, just fold it in half. If you've got a blanket, roll it into a nice big lump, a nice big roll. And we're going to start off lying on our backs. With the pelvis lifted and either the cushion, the blanket or the ball underneath the pelvis in a way that's a little bit lower, so it actually allows the spine to lengthen. Instead of, if I had it up here, it would force me to be in a little bit more of an arched position. So you want to have it quite low, almost around the tailbone, to increase the length of the lower spine and the lower back. And then just relax your arms by your sides, close your eyes. Let your body sink into the ground and into the ball or the blanket. And take a nice deep breath into the belly. And then let the breath move from the belly to the ribs. And I want you to let that breath expand outwards, upwards and backwards into the ribs. You'll then start to feel it go more into the upper back and the chest. And if you're finding it hard to connect the breath to the ribs, you can place your hands on your ribs. So that as you inhale, you want to feel the movement rising up into the ribs. Rising up into your hands. And we're just going to take 2 more breaths there. And then you can let your arms come back down by your sides. Press down into your feet. So then you can start to lift your pelvis, leading from your pubic bone, and then gently slide the ball out from underneath you and bring yourself back down. And then we're going to come and lie on our side with the ball or blanket or cushion underneath the ribs. So you want to have it about here, so it's kind of just above the waist. And then you're going to bring your head into your hand. If you're further down, you can go all the way down, but just do whatever you can. Your knees are bent and your hips are stacked over each other. And then we're just going to try and move the ribs forwards and backwards. So you're just starting to get a little bit of movement in the waist. It's like you're kind of twisting the ribs forwards and backwards. Obviously, if you have the ball, it does make it a little bit easier because you can really kind of move around the ball, but I promise it can be done with a blanket and a cushion as well. You just have to kind of move yourself over it a little bit more. But I would suggest investing in one of these. They're not very expensive. You can buy them for a pretty small amount of money off Amazon. You don't have to go and buy a fancy one. Just a small Pilates ball. Okay, and then we're going to swap sides. So bring yourself up, round to the other side, and place the ball under the other side. Again, you can rest your head in your hand, or you can come all the way down. Knees bent, hips stacked, and then do the same thing. And now, depending also on your ribs, you might find as you do this, that one side you have a lot more movement than the other. You might feel like on one side it was really easy to twist and turn and you didn't even have to think about it. Whereas you might find on another side that you're almost feeling like you have no idea how to move your ribs in this way. And that's absolutely fine and normal. We do tend to be a little bit more stuck in one side than the other. Okay, and then you're going to bring yourself up, pop your ball, blanket, cushion, whatever you have, just to the side for the moment. We're going to come back to it at some point, but not quite yet. Now, if you are near to a wall, I want you to bring yourself so that you've got your bum cheeks, both of them, right up on the wall, and you're at a V kind of shape. So your back isn't on the wall, your feet aren't on the wall, it's just your bum. You can lie down on your left side first and rest your head on your left arm. The other hand can be in front of you. Then you're going to really push your bum back into the wall. And as you push your bum back into the wall, push the bottom leg down slightly. So you should start to feel a little bit of a rise through your bottom ribs. You're going to keep that little bit of a rise and then just really slowly open up the top leg. Don't make it big, don't try and do it huge. It doesn't need to be huge. This is just a little movement to start getting that stability in the pelvis from the ribs. Really press back with the hip, with the bum. One more. And then we're going to swap sides. So bring yourself up and around. And again, both bum cheeks up against the wall. So you really feel your hips on the wall. Your back is off the wall, your feet are off the wall, you're at a really good V. And then your head is resting on your right arm. And again, push your hips back into the wall. Really use the wall and then just slowly open that top knee and close it. Push down into your bottom leg so it gives you that little rise off the bottom ribs. By having the pelvis right up against the wall, you're really using the wall to help you maintain the stability in your pelvis. It can be really difficult actually to do this move in the middle of the room with nothing behind you, because what tends to happen is the pelvis wants to go backwards. Then you don't end up working the muscles that you need to work on the outer glutes. Just do one more. Lovely. And then we're going to come up and we're going to come onto all fours. Wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And we're going to see if we can get a little bit more movement in our ribs from here. So as you press down into your fingers and your knuckles, just dial your hands out a little bit. Let that sink the shoulder blades into the back and towards each other. And then just with your ribs, try to rotate round in a circle one way with your ribs. So it's like your ribs are going forwards, to the side, to the back, and then to the other side. And don't worry if the circle has to be quite small. Just try and make it happen in the ribs. And then we're going to try and change direction. Now for a lot of people, changing direction can suddenly become really difficult, and it feels like you have to use all of your brain and all of your coordination. And that generally is down to the fact that you are probably very one-sided, or maybe down to the fact that you're a bit stuck in one side of the body. So actually moving both ways becomes really difficult. So just take note of that and try to get that movement going the other way. I often like to spend a little bit more time going in my non-habitual direction, because that's the side that needs it. Do one more. Lovely. Okay. And then keep the throat lifted so that it's front of the throat is moving into the back of the throat, and the back of your head stays in line with your upper spine. Don't lift your chin. Keep it tucked in. Keep that dialing out of the hands so the shoulder blades sit really nicely on the back of the ribs. Then press into your left foot. Take your right leg out behind you, and then bring that right foot forwards behind your right hand. If you're pregnant, then you're going to want to bring that foot a little bit out to the side, just because you don't really have the space to bring it right to the front. And then you're going to lift your upper body. Now from here, pull this front foot back, back foot forward. So we're in our nice little 90-degree angle. That starts to open up the front of this back hip. And then from there, inhale, raise your arms up like you're lifting from your shoulder blades and sliding the shoulder blades up the back. In fact, we're going to do that again. So take your arms back down to shoulder height. Focus on what's happening in your shoulder blades and what's happening in your ribs. The ribs should be feeling like they're lifting away from the hips. And as you lift your arms up, you want to feel that both shoulder blades are actually moving upwards. They're not staying stuck on the back of the ribs, otherwise they're not going to be able to move properly. Then grab a hold of your left wrist, take a breath in, and from your ribs, reach up and over to the right. And then inhale, come back to the center. Walk your right foot out to the side so the heel comes in line with your left knee. Then bring your right hand to the inside of your right leg. Push that hand up against the leg up against the hand. Again, take your left arm just in line with your shoulder. And from, again, the hips with length in your ribs, lift that left arm up. Let the shoulder blades slide up. Now gaining even more length, like you're pulling the ribs away from the pelvis, you're going to take a big breath in and go up and over to the left. Let the right hand come up and then reach that right arm up and over. And what you're trying to avoid as you do this is sticking your butt out, because otherwise you haven't gone up and over, you've just stuck your butt out and folded forwards. You want to really keep pressing the pelvis forwards, the glutes lengthen down the back of the leg, and then you're reaching up and over with the ribs, and that gives you this beautiful length on the right side of your waist. Take a big breath there. Let your head relax. You can even take your right hand to the back of your head and press the head into the hand. And then inhale, reach the right arm back up. Use that right arm to bring you all the way back up to that starting position. And then walk the right leg back in. Take the left hand down, right hand down, and then slide the right foot back. And we're going to do the same on the other side. So, keeping your head in line with your spine, your ribs engaged, press down into the right foot, take the left foot out behind you, and then bring it to the front. And again, if you're pregnant, let it come ever so slightly out to the side, and then lift your upper body. From there, pull that front foot back, back hip forwards, back foot forwards, really allowing that opening in the front of the back hip to start happening. And then again from here, take your arms out to shoulder height, take a big breath in, and then lift your arms up. Let the shoulder blades slide up, don't keep them stuck. Grab hold of your right wrist, breathe in, reach up out of the ribs and over to the left. And just in the same kind of way as I said before, you don't want to end up twisting as you do this, you're just reaching up and over. You're keeping that length in your glutes. Then come back to center, arms back to shoulder height, walk that left foot out to the side until the left heel is in line with the left knee. And then take the left hand to the inside of that left leg. Push the two towards each other. That will get that left thigh to switch on and also open up a bit more. And then again, you're going to keep the hips really nice and open and long. Inhale, raise the right arm up. So you feel, again, the shoulder blade is sliding up. I might run out of space on this side, I think. So I'm just going to push myself over a little bit. Hopefully you're not right up next to a wall. And then from there, inhale, reach up through the sides of the waist, through your ribs, and then slowly reach up and over. Imagine that you've got a ball on the right side of your body, so you have to go up and over. And then again, you let that left hand come to the back of your head. Let your head come back into your hand. And then really breathe into the left side of the waist. Let your neck relax. And then reach the left arm up. Let the left arm guide you all the way back up to the centre. The right arm back up. And then walk that left leg back in. I'm going to scooch myself back over to the mat. And then from there, take the right foot back down, right hand back down, sorry, and left leg back. Okay, now from here, can you take your elbows down underneath your shoulders, elbows in line with your shoulders, and keep this length between the elbows and the knees. So the elbows are under the shoulders, the knees are still underneath your hips. Then you're going to push down into your hands, down into your forearms, relax your head, let it just soften slightly. Tuck your toes under, take a big breath in, and then you're going to push your hips up to the ceiling and keep your knees bent. Okay, so this is like an easy down, I mean, I know it's not easy, but I'm calling it an easy dolphin because you've got your knees bent, okay? And then from here, push into your hands, into your forearms, and just gently wiggle your ribs side to side. Try and unstick them as much as you can. You can take them round in a little half circle, full circle, just really unstick them. And then bring the knees down. Don't worry if you have to kind of come up and down to do that a couple times so that you get the full movement of it. That's absolutely fine. Now again, push down into the forearms, down into your hands, breathe in, lift your hips back up. This time try and straighten your legs, but keep that lift through your hips. Push into the left foot and raise your right leg. Let your head stay relaxed. Bend your right knee. And then really gently open up that right hip so you start to feel a bit of an opening in the right side of the ribs. Keep your left ribs hugged in. And then bring it back to center. Lower the knees. We're going to do that again on the other side. Press down into the forearms. Keep your head relaxed. Toes tucked under. Breathe in. Lift your hips straight up. Push into the right foot. Lift the left leg. Bend the left knee. And then keep opening up that left hip without shortening in the right side of the waist. Hug the ribs in. Just feel that opening in the left ribs. And breathe. And then bring the left leg back down. Knees back down. Oh, good. And then bring the hands back to your all fours position. Now from here, take your pelvis right back to your hips. Your heels, I mean. Again, if you're pregnant, make your knees wider, feet wider, just to make space for the belly. Walk your hands forwards. And then really push back through your hips. As you walk your hands forwards, I want you to feel like you're lengthening your hands from the ribs, from the sides of the waist. And you don't go so far forwards with the hands that you lose the connection from the arms and the shoulders. Now push down into the hands, into your knuckles, and you'll feel, hopefully, a little bit of an awakening, something happening in your shoulder blades. So you want your shoulder blades in a pushing position to be able to move upwards, to be able to move on the ribs. You don't want to keep them stuck moving down. Let them move up slightly and let those ribs open up a bit more. Then from here, push into your hands, breathe in and lift your hips up. Let your head relax. Let it completely flop down. And then you again can bend your knees to start off with. Keep pushing down into your hands. Dial out with your hands so the shoulder blades are in a neutral position, but they're in a strong position on the back. They're not trying to move up the back. They're sitting really strong on the back of the ribs. And then from here, take a breath in, push into your left foot, raise your right leg, keeping the right knee bent. And then again, just like you did in your dolphin, see if you can open up that knee, that hip, without changing the left side of the waist. And then bring it back. And you're going to step the right foot forwards to the right hand. Now from here, start to twist round to the right and then sit on top of the knees. So then, like you can see my back, it's fine if one hip is slightly off the floor, but if you really struggle in this position, you can grab your blanket, your cushion, your ball, whatever you have, and come and sit on it. So that will give you a little bit more length in the waist and a little bit more space in the hips. Now from here, take your arms out to shoulder height in a kind of a cactus position, and then just start slowly moving round in circles with your arms, like you're doing a bit of a backstroke, to again get movement in the ribs. Now as you're doing this, if you're feeling crunching in your shoulder blades, I want you to do this slower so that you're not feeling any crunching. You're just feeling movement and opening. And then slowly walk your hands back to the front of the mat and then walk yourself back into a down dog position. You can have your ball, blanket, whatever you had ready to go for the other side. So now pressing into the right side again, keep dialing out with your hands so those shoulder blades sit nicely on the back of the ribs. Lift your left leg, keeping the knee bent, and then turn that hip out. Open up that hip so it opens up the ribs without shortening the right side of the waist. Just get that length in the ribs. And then bring that back leg back to center, step it forwards, and then twist yourself round to the left. Again, if you sat on something on the other side, you probably want to sit on something this side. And I would suggest, if you're pregnant, it's much easier to sit up on something because you want the space for the belly more than anything else. And again, arms at a cactus position and start gently wiggling it round. Really trying to just detach any stuck muscles in the ribs. And then come back to the front of the mat with both hands and step it back to down dog. And then nice and slowly walk your hands back to your feet. Again, if you're pregnant, make space for the belly. Drop your head, breathe in, and just roll yourself all the way up. Okay, from this position, I want you to take a step forwards with your right foot, not too far, enough to have that left heel on the ground. And then bend both knees. Now you might find you can't bend the left knee that far because perhaps you have restriction around the ankle or it's a massive stretch on the back of that left calf. If you do find that, take the right foot back a little bit more, then see if you can bend it. You do want to feel that bit of a stretch in the back of that calf because that's going to help to open up the back of the body a lot. And then keep squeezing the feet towards each other so it helps you to engage the glutes, engage the hips, and feel like you're lifting the ribs away from the hips. Inhale the arms to shoulder height, and then lift your arms up like they're lifting from the ribs. And just like we did on the floor, you're going to grab your left wrist, breathe in, and then reach up and over to the right. Don't shorten the right side of your waist, just lengthen. Inhale back to center, take the arms back to shoulder height, and then hinge at your hips so your bum comes back a little. Now bend your front knee more so it straightens out your left leg, and then slowly reach towards the ground. You can grab your ball, you can grab yourself a chair, or you can just try to balance yourself. But if you're pregnant, I would grab something that you can lean into a little bit. Keep your chin tucked in. Let your front knee bend and slowly raise the back leg off the ground, keeping the legs straight. From here, breathe in and then reach that left arm to the floor so you're going to feel more length in the left side of your waist. Let your head relax, and then breathe in and take that left leg to the outside of the right leg and backwards. That gives you more length. Inhale it back to center, step the left foot down, and then push through the front foot to come back up. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. So step that right foot back and then step the left foot forwards. Again, only as far as you can without the right heel coming off the floor. Then bend both knees. Again, if you need to, shorten that stance a little bit. But whatever you do, just try and really get that stretch in the back of the right calf, down the Achilles heel. Squeeze the feet towards each other so it opens up the hips. Take your arms to shoulder height. Inhale, raise your arms up, let the shoulder blades lift. Grab hold of your right wrist. Inhale, lengthen through the ribs and go up and over. Again, don't shorten the left side of the waist. Inhale back to center, arms back to shoulder height. Hinge at your hips so your bum sticks out a bit. Then bend your front knee, straighten your back leg. Keep reaching to the ground, grab whatever you need to for extra support or to bring the floor to you. Bend your front knee more and then float the back leg off the ground. So you're first of all focusing on your balance. And then you're going to reach the right arm over and forwards as far as you can. Let your head relax and let that open up the right side of the waist. Then bring that right foot to the left and back behind you. Then bring it back to center. Push through the back foot, through the front foot. Push yourself back up. Ah, beautiful. Good. And then step that back foot to the front. Put your ball down if you have it, whatever you have. And we're going to come all the way down to the ground from here. So inhale, raise your arms up. Let the shoulder blades slide up. Make your feet wider if you're pregnant, so you've got space for the bump. And then from here, take your arms down to your ribs. Slide the arms down the belly. Keep your chin tucked in. Sit back at your hips. So you start in a squat position, but the ribs stay hugged in. And you feel you're really connected to that whole center part of the body. And slowly bring your hands all the way down to your ankles, to your feet, then to the floor. And you're going to come and lie down on your back in Shavasana. Or you could, if you're pregnant especially, lie down on your side. And try and lie down on the side that is not the tightest, so that you open up the tightest side. So for me, that's my left side, so I'm going to lie down on my right side with the ball underneath my waist, or blanket, whatever you have. And then just rest in this position, or in Shavasana. Close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath into the nose. And out through the mouth. One more time. And then bring yourself up to sitting if you're in Shavasana. Bend your knees, roll to your side and come up. If you're lying on your side, just gently bring yourself up. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed it and you feel you have a little bit more freedom around the ribs. If you want to test it, you can kind of just twist yourself a little bit side to side, see if that gives you this sense of freedom or evenness in both sides. If you loved this video, liked this video, please like it. Please comment below with any thoughts you have or any ideas for future videos, anything you'd really like to see me put on here for you to do. And please share the love. I'm sure somebody you know will appreciate it, and if not anyway, I certainly will. So I will see you next week for another A to Z yoga video. Have a wonderful week. Love to you all. Namaste.